Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Karma Cards. I'm your host, Therese Tucker, and I'm excited to be here with you today. So, we got a lot of changes going on this week. So, first of all, we are officially out of Mercury retrograde. Hooray! But we're not out of its shadow. Wah, wah. So, it might feel a little bit Mercury retrograde-y for the next few days, but we're closely approaching it being completely resolved. It's just those loose ends that need to get tied up that we're working with right now. But there's so much astrological change going on, a lot of planets changing signs. So, and a new moon all coming up in the span of days here. So let's take a look because some of these shifts are pretty big. So as I'm recording this, today is August 29th, the day after Mercury started going direct. Today, Venus moves into the sign of Libra, which is one of Venus's home signs. She rules Taurus and Libra. So with Venus in Libra, we're feeling that harmony. We're feeling that desire to create balance, have harmonious relationships. Harmony is definitely at the forefront, and a harmonious interaction feels easier now with Venus here. I keep wanting to say Libra, with Venus here in Libra. And then on September 1st, right before the new moon, Pluto retrogrades back into the sign of Capricorn. For the last time in our lifetime, this will be the last time Pluto enters Capricorn. Whenever Pluto's in Capricorn, we're looking at some restructuring going on. And since Pluto is retrograding in Capricorn, it's really this, again, a deeper internal review. But Pluto is about empowerment and purging, so we're definitely going to be looking at a purge. Pluto tends to affect larger groups and institutions. It's considered a generational planet because it's one of our outer planets. It's slower moving, so it affects us more on a generational level. But with Pluto and Capricorn, we're going all the way back to like 2008 with that financial blip there. And every time Pluto is in Capricorn, we have some financial stuff going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have some big financial dealings to do with the cleanup of our financial system that comes about during Pluto retrograding in Capricorn. And it's going to be there, I think, through the end of 2024, and then it starts to go back into Aquarius, where it will be moving forward after that. So this is our last time. So it's like one more time to look at what is disempowering us or what needs to be cleaned up. But that's starting on September 1st. And then we get the new moon in Virgo, which is definitely about the details. So we've got a lot of earth energy coming in with those two planets. It brings us back to the physical world, and it gets us to sort of review what's going on in our physical world, specifically in our work and our health, which are the areas that Virgo rules over. So finding that work-life balance and getting really practical about what we're manifesting. What's the practical side of it? How is this going to work for me? How is it going to help me do the work I need to do in the world that helps other people, right? That's going to be a big focus with that energy. And then finally on September 4th, Mars moves into Cancer. So Mars in Cancer, I want to say that's kind of an interesting energy because Mars is all about taking action, and sometimes aggressively, where Cancer is very much nurturing and softening. So the way we want to take action feels a little bit softer, or it might feel harder for those who have a strong Mars energy in themselves. That if you're really good at like taking action, you might feel like the actions aren't as strong or the impulse isn't as strong as normal. But also what this can mean is that our actions are more intuitively directed, so that we're going to be feeling, taking action from a more intuitive place. And by the way, before I forget, I do have a few cool things for you happening on September 2nd with the new moon. The first one is a free event I'm hosting on Insight Timer. We're doing the water vessel ritual. This is actually a piece of the spirit circle that I've extracted And I do with people live on Insight Timer. It's free to join that event. You just need the Insight Timer app, which is also free to download. So you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to sign up for a subscription, although I'm sure it prompts you to do it. You can just download the app and join the events that are there, and we can do this live together. And then also there is a spirit circle that evening with the new moon in Virgo. And that's where I get to take you deeper into the energy, help you get in alignment with what's going on the cosmic level with that information, and also do channeling with you and psychic Q&A. So if that sounds like something you'd like to join, here's the link. It's in the description below for both events. So I hope to see you there. So the message from the team this week is pretty interesting. They are talking about an unconventional approach to your spiritual experience. So talking about inner teacher, right? So our inner guidance, but an unconventional approach to how you are approaching your spirituality. And it's hard to say what that is, other than something has shifted, and maybe your current spiritual approach, whatever it is that you're doing, sort of get yourself into your spiritual practice, might need a little bit of a change up and go in a slightly different direction. I don't know if this is, I feel like it's temporary maybe, but that it's time to shake something up and approach things from an unconventional point of view, sort of radically step out of what you're used to doing. Maybe because we get really attached to what we do and kind of give that power and believe, oh, if I meditate, or I meditate for 30 minutes, or I exercise, or I put my legs up the wall, or I have to go for a walk in nature, or I have to do all these like alignments and attunements and stuff. And that's what connects me spiritually. And I feel like what they're saying is you need to shake that up and prove to yourself, or show yourself, that you're already spiritually connected. All these other things that you do that help yourself, they're just helpful tools, but they're not the thing that connects you. You're connecting you. And that also you might find that an unconventional approach takes you in even deeper to your spiritual center. And so it's this sort of idea of shaking it up and doing something a little different. Earlier today, I did a channeling on Insight Timer with the Arcturian Council. They came through and they were talking about these timelines that we're all going through. And they said that dimensions were folding in on one another. So what they mean by that is they showed me like there's all these parallel dimensions happening of Earth experiences. We think there's just this one experience. It's like there's this infinity mirror, if you will, of experiences happening on the Earth level, and that these different parallel dimensions are unfolding. They showed me they're folding into each other, folding in. As they do, the experiences merge together. And they said that you might even hear information that seems new to you, where other people say, no, that's known, and you're like, wait, what? And what they're saying is information from other parallel dimensions are merging with your dimension. And so all this new, really different information, you'll start noticing it starts coming in, maybe new Mandela effects, or different perspectives that you hadn't heard before. You're going to start hearing about and being like, whoa, where is this from? Literally another dimension is what they're saying. So this could be why they're talking about this unconventional approach, because maybe as we're merging these timelines together, we're finding information that felt like obscure to us is actually now suddenly available. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. But they're just talking about allow this new information to come through. Allow for the unconventional approach. And don't be so attached. Again, right? We were talking about detachment last time. Don't be so attached to how you approach things right now that you can't allow yourself to experience all the other opportunities or options that are available. And these aren't things that like you have to uncommit from anything. So if you're a person who, like, for example, if you're a religious person, this isn't to say you can't be religious now, not at all. Just there's another approach to it, right? There's this, it's like, imagine, okay, let's put it this way. Imagine all your life you've only ever meditated sitting down with your eyes closed. And then someone mentions to you, did you know you can walk and meditate at the same time? Now, this is information that's known. Of course you can do that. But just imagine if all your life, the only way you ever thought you could meditate was to be still with your eyes closed. This would feel very unconventional to you to attempt or to approach meditation walking. You might feel really like it's out of left field. And that's the kind of shift I'm getting from the team, that it's not really fundamentally different, but the approach is really unusual to you. And to allow that to be a part of your process at this time, because it's going to open you up in a way that the conventional approach just can't right now. You need a little something extra. So with that, we're going to look at the karma cards and see what else they add to this message. All right, for those who are new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for this week? And I have 2 sets of answers, a set in red and a set in which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what are the guidance you need this week. Is it action or outcome? And of course, you can always choose both. And not only that, but we got a daily double. We got a double card. This happens from time to time, and we got one today. So I'm excited to go over that with you. While you are choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for August 29th through September 4th. All right, in the flavor of this reading, we've got Saturn, which is a planet about staying grounded, slowing down, dealing with karma, learning lessons at the forefront here. And our little daily double is we have both Taurus and Capricorn activated. These are both earth signs, and Capricorn is actually ruled by Saturn. So we have a very grounded, anchoring energy. And the 4th house is also represented, which has to do with our inner world, our intuition, as well as the past and our family, our close family. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to be realistic about your beliefs and goals as you did in the past. So what this is showing us is that even though we're being asked to take an unconventional approach right now, the fundamental nature of what we're being asked to approach differently, which is sort of our spiritual learning, or accessing our inner teacher, our spiritual world. The fundamental of that is the same. Whatever your beliefs or goals are, remain the same. It's the approach we're being asked to change at this time. Mental action at this time: be concerned about the cost of the day-to-day reality of your family and home base. And what I'm getting with this is be concerned about the cost of not growing. And so the goal here is to continue to grow, but we have to get out of sort of a rut or a rote way of approaching our spiritual growth that's actually limiting it. And we're being asked to, again, stick with the core of it. What is the intention? What is it you believe and want to grow? But try a new approach to growing it, and be concerned about the cost of not continually expanding and growing your insight. Because the idea that we know, I've already figured it out. I've already figured out what the core of the mystery of life is so limiting, because how could you know something that's unknowable, right? How could you fully know something that itself is always expanding? And so it's asking you to consider the cost of staying put or not growing or becoming stagnant, and how that sort of ripples out from your inner world out into your immediate world, which would be your family or home base. How is it affecting not just you, but how is it going to affect the foundation, if you will, of your own life experience? So why stay put? Like, consider why staying put might not be the best move when it comes to personal growth or spiritual growth. Physical action at this time, you must wait before you can use the most direct and businesslike way to do what makes you feel secure. All right, so maybe you feel at this time that your personal approach to your own spiritual growth is the most direct path, and that's what you're comfortable with, and that's what you want to use. Like, you don't add the extra, right? Like, I don't need to do a water ritual or add crystals to my routine or do deep breath work. Let's just say that you're like, no, I just pray and talk to God directly. That's fine. What they're saying right now is that there is something to get by taking a circumnavigated route. There's more to see and learn than just that direct approach. And apparently the direct approach at this current time is there's something about it that's too static, or it's blocking you. It's like the road is too traveled. And it's also not growing you the way you think it's meant to grow you. So again, I want to hit on the fundamental, the core of what you believe stays the same. How you approach it is different. So say you're a meditator and you've always meditated sitting down with your eyes closed. And yet now you're doing it. You're sitting down meditating with your eyes closed, and you feel like you've gone to the distance you can go with that like there's just nothing more. It doesn't expand anymore. You've sort of peaked. And then you learn that you can meditate while walking. Well, you might feel weird. It might feel unconventional to do such a thing, to walk and meditate at the same time. And yet that's the approach that's going to expand you now, not the comfort zone you're used to, not this direct method that you're used to using, but rather, again, that unconventional or unorthodox way to get to the same point. All right, now let's look at outcomes in Saturn with Taurus and Capricorn in the 4th house of the inner self. Spiritual outcome at this time: the maturity that brings materials and resources and dedication to achieve what makes you feel secure. So it's time to go on a journey, and the journey brings us the maturity, the expansion, the wisdom, and the growth that we're looking for, and the very things that we're attempting to receive from our current or more traditional approach to our spiritual practices, which, again, like whatever you're doing right now that you typically do, if you don't feel as connected, it's not that you're not connected, it's that your connection can go deeper by exploring right now. So the message from the team is really about this exploration, or this kind of taking a journey. And these cards are more talking about, consider what you want, consider the outcome you want, feeling more secure in this case, and understand that the current approach you're taking is not leading you to this. You need to try something new, and it's getting you to think about, like, if you don't, what are the consequences? Or if you stay put, what are the consequences of that? So that's how the cards are reading. But really what they're saying is everything you want comes from getting outside this comfort zone of current actions, current behavior, and just outside on the other side of something that's a little different for you. And as an example of this, when it comes to channeling, I feel the most comfortable doing it inside the spirit circle. This is a group of people that I've worked with for years. It's got a really good energy. They're so supportive, and it feels like a very safe space for me to stretch myself psychically and attempt these things. Yet, I also know that wherever there's a comfort zone means there's a limit. And my team's been saying, okay, now it's time to, you got to be in this sort of safe, comfortable space. Now it's time to take it out there further. That feels, for me, like an unorthodox thing. I'm like, why? Why can't you just bring people here and I'll do it here? And the universe is like, no, you've got to go out there. Put yourself out there so that the people can find you. They're not finding you if you tuck yourself or hide yourself away. So in order for me to be found by people, I have to be willing to go out there and show people what I can do outside of my comfort zone. And in doing so, I can then expand. So that's kind of an example of this energy and how they're asking us to use it. The conventional or traditional place for me is inside the spirit circle. It's more unconventional for me to take that out and do it outside of that space that I trust. And yet, when we do that, the things that we're looking for, that sense of security, that's how you're going to find it. You cannot build a sense of security without putting yourself out there. You can't go, okay, make me this little safe space. And once you make that universe, then I'll go out. Nope. You've got to venture out of your current safe space to create the next one. Right. And so that's kind of what they're asking us to do here. If you want that sense of security and safety to expand in your life and not just be limited to the areas where you've built it, well, you're going to have to step outside of the structure you've created and expand yourself so that you can build an even bigger field of safety and security around you. Makes sense, but also it definitely pushes pushes the buttons, right? Of, well, that makes me feel insecure. So you're telling me I have to go through insecurity to feel more secure. And ultimately the answer is yes. Mental outcome at this time, caution regarding the practicality of focusing on support. Again, it's just what I literally just said about the fact that if you're focusing on, I need it to be safe and secure before I go there, you're doing it backwards. How you can't create that because you're the creator of it. You create in your life what makes you feel safe and secure. It has always been that way, even though we are born into spaces where, we feel like there's an environment around us creating that safety and security. That's sort of a starter set point. And of course, not everybody gets that. But ultimately, the older you get, the more and more it's kind of on you to create that sense of safety and security. And if you're demanding it live outside of you first, and then you'll approach it, well, then one, you're giving power away. You're giving that power to create that for you to something outside of you, which means that something outside of you can take it away. And so it's saying, hey, let's not focus so much on like when it's safe, but rather recognizing that when I expand myself out of what I currently feel is safe and I expand my energy, I can then build what feels safe and secure, right? So make sure that we're focusing on the support that, one, you call on it from within you, that sense of safety and security. So therefore, as I venture out, I still feel protected and secure. And two, recognizing that I create the safety and security in my life. I put those parameters in place. And it's really more up to me than some outside force. And if I'm willing to show up for it, then I can create it. All right, physical outcome at this time, limits imposed by the productivity of and the rules imposed by your home and family. This one sounds a little redundant, but let's get into it. Okay, so what it's talking about here is there's some belief systems that we're going to come up against as we try to stretch ourselves. So whatever it is we're doing to take an unconventional route to our beliefs and our goals, whatever it is, we might find that we're butting up against some beliefs or rules in our mind that we either adopted because they were given to us by maybe family or maybe a belief system we follow, that we're going to have a hard time getting out of the conventional. Some people, in some instances, not everyone, but there's going to be an interesting sort of coming up against a wall here when you try to like sort of break free from a pattern. Even just something as simple, like I said, as meditating. If you are used to meditating in a very specific way, like I have a spot I like to meditate in, if you get too attached to how you're doing what you're doing to get to your specific result, and then you're being asked to shake that up or change it, the attachment is what you're going to be confronted with, because it'll act like a limit or a barrier stopping you from expanding yourself in a new way. Some people are going to come up against that. It's going to feel awkward and almost like not right. And if you have those feelings come up, this is not right, rather than force yourself to do it, question, why is it not right? What's going to happen, right? What's going to happen to me if I allow myself to shift here or try something new? And remember, this is sort of a temporary measure. It doesn't seem like it's going to be different moving forward forever, but it's a temporary measure asking you to get out of a rut or a rote way of being so that you can expand and grow. And if you find that you're coming up against some hard beliefs that you can't, it's not so much about making that wrong, rather than questioning, why is that there, and what do I believe is going to happen if I shake it up, right? If I start walking and meditating, do I believe I'm going to lose some potency, and is that what keeps me from doing it? I need to question why I can't shift my approach. And the answers might be very illuminating and get you the information that you need to expand. Or you might find that you break right through it and you're like, yeah, let me try this. Let me shake it up and see what happens, because it's all about getting that information that creates the wisdom and maturity that allows us to get to the heart of our belief and our goal. So with that, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah. Have a beautiful week.